Hello, friends of Smart City TV. We are back here for one more interview. Today, I have the pleasure to have Ahmed Hefnawy, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Ahmed, I know Ahmed for some time. We have been in some events in the smart cities. Ahmed is a consultant on that space. He has previous experiences on managing smart city projects. Also, he is a PhD on the area of intelligent transportation systems. So we are going to discuss about his experience on smart cities, the use of smart transportations, and how we can improve the development of smart cities. So to the people that have already joined our channel, I appreciate and ask to the new ones to join so you can receive more details about the Smart City TV. So Ahmed, thank you for coming to our interview. It's a pleasure to have you here. So tell me, what was your biggest challenge when you were managing a smart city project?
Yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate this opportunity to speak at Smart City TV. This pleasure and honor. To answer your question, Smart City is a city by the end. It is a city and it has all the challenges. And making the city smarter, okay, it sounds more resonant, and it will help people to feel the luxury life or the simplicity of the city. But in terms of management of the smart city, it is still a complex process and complex procedures that requires a comprehensive way of managing the city, how to connect the dots, how to make sure that all the strategies that are in place are streamlined together to make the life easier for citizens, for city administrators and operators, as well as to all other stakeholders. So in short, to answer your question, the biggest challenge that I tried to address during my studies and also as a policymaker at certain stage was to find out a higher vision that brings all stakeholders, all policies, and technologies and systems together in one comprehensive vision.
Okay, so I used to say that one of the biggest problems we face deploying the smart city is the governance. It's trying
Correct.
to have all the stakeholders to agree what is the next step, what needs to be done.
Correct.
So do you have, in your experience, have you seen the same issue? Have you used any specific methodology to have people to sit together and to agree on a consensus decision?
Yeah, I'll share with you and the audience a very brief story from the experience, how governance is very important, okay? And I'll share also how we addressed that at certain point of time when I was working with the government of Qatar. Uh, just to share with the audience, Qatar is quite small country in terms of size and population in the Middle East. It is a very wealthy country. And in terms of a space, it is, you can call it like city-state. 90 or 95% of the population are concentrated in the capital city of Doha. And because the country is very rich, so it is full of smart city projects slash smart city, applications or services. So you will find a company that provides electricity and water, okay, applying their smart grids, for example. In the same time, the Works Authority applying their intelligent transport system, and like 2-3 mega projects. And when I say mega, it is really mega, completely new city, okay, designed to accommodate as many people as the current population of Doha. So they are building almost another Doha. And at the very early beginning, we find out that all these projects are very well, very good established, but in silos. Each project is almost standalone. There is no way to interchange or exchange data between these projects. So this was the problem. And even within the same problem, and this will take us to the time notion and to the life cycle management, which I focused during my studies as an academic person. When we had our survey and we had our interviews with different projects, okay, collecting historical information, we found out that in certain cases, the history of information, traceability of data is not there. And if the smart city project is in operation phase, okay, the complete picture of the design phase is not there, okay? They are not taking lessons from the operation phase and feed it back to the design phase to get lessons and so on. How we addressed this in Qatar at the time, okay, the state of Qatar designed a nationwide initiative or program called Smart Qatar, okay? So these, we can call it like a special case. There is no comparison at all with Brazil, for example, because Qatar is small in size and population, like Dubai or like maybe Singapore.
Maybe. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they have this opportunity to apply smart city project on a nationwide approach. So now they have like a data platform, which is like nationwide, and all projects can be connected to this data exchange. So this will help all projects to exchange data together. Yeah. This can be easily said from technical point of view, but from governance point of view, from standards point of view, yeah, there are still some challenges that can be still addressed, but not as easy as we might think.
Yeah, well, the silo problem, it's a very old problem in technology for government, because it goes back to the 80s, when you have individual agencies developing e-gov solutions. So you have a solution for the police, you have a solution for the health department, you have a solution for the traffic department, and they do not exchange information. So now that we are moving into the smart city, we see the same problem. So you have the parking solution, you have the street light solution, you have the garbage solutions, and they do not exchange information. So interoperability, I believe, is along with governance, is a core issue. Do you agree with that?
100%. And I personally feel that this challenge is multifolded in the case of a smart city, because the design of a smart city is built on data exchange. So if you do not achieve this feature, it is not a smart city, or you are just hindering the capabilities of the smart city, of the decision-making capabilities. You just mentioned the project that I worked on smart parking, for example. It is all based on the capabilities of smart cameras to capture the plate number, okay? let's assume that at certain point of time, the traffic department, the police department responsible for plate numbers, decided to change the technology of the plate numbers without informing in the right time the smart parking system. They'll find their technology idle, not exchanging the right data at the right time, and the whole scenario is just off.
Correct. Yeah. Well, the professor Teresa Pardo from the New York State University and the Center for Technology and Government. You may probably know her. He's very well known on the Smart City and e-government board. She pledges a lot about that issue of data governance. So you cannot embark in a project such as that one without having the proper governance for your data elements. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's an issue. But you lived in Qatar, and now I believe you're living in Australia. So what do you see the potential differences between a smart city in Qatar and a smart city in Australia? So one, you have the Middle East, desert-like, and then you have the more liberal country as in Australia, the beaches, sun, the different environment. So does that have an impact on a smart city project?
In my opinion, yes, it has some impact. So as I said, in terms of size and population, Qatar is much smaller. So it is much easier to make like a smart city application on the state level or on the nation level. Also, Qatar, in terms of as an emerging country, okay, so most of the projects are what they call green projects from scratch, and it is much easier to build a smart city from scratch than what they call brown projects, or you have already infrastructure in place and you have to make it smart, okay, while the population of the country are using this one. Also, the structure of the country, like Australia as a federal country, is much more complex, and it is almost impossible to find out a governance model that can orchestrate all these smart city projects. However, still there is a chance that on the council level or on the state level, so there are many initiatives and programs are in place, okay? And I think Melbourne, where I'm living now, is very well known as one of the best cities or most livable city. They have all this,
it's a beautiful city, yeah.
Yeah. And the young population in universities and so on, these are also like very important part of the smart city. The know-how and the talent and the smart population is available here. You can build on it very easily, which is like very good advantage compared to other countries.
Yeah, that's correct. So if you think that you may have 3 different levels of resource, technology, capital, and human resources. So normally people tend to forget that the human resource is very, very important to build a smart city. If you don't have the knowledge on the population or the technical team, at least, to do that, it becomes very difficult to do a smart city project, for sure. Yeah. Sure. That's an issue. But smart cities are built for improving quality of life. So that's the motto. That's the main speech for smart cities. How did you engage with citizens when you were involved in the project in Qatar? So what was the feedback you got from the citizens regarding? There were methodologies, there were not. How did that work?
In the case of Qatar, it was like mostly like top-down approach. So it was the government who was like driving this smart city, okay, and it is just disseminated from the very top to the down. So it came in a quite different way, okay, and the citizens over time started to adopt this technology. And I can assume that it is different experience, might not be like in everywhere, because the family structure, the social part in the Gulf countries and Middle East is quite different. However, maybe if you ask the same for country or city like Melbourne here, it is becoming like part of the daily life. What we used to consider as new applications are now normal applications. Everyone is just used to it. What was like optional before COVID, for example, okay, became very normal now, and sometimes mandatory by the government. Tracking applications where the government can track the any infection or trace any contracting of the virus or whatsoever is becoming very normal. And having a long lockdown, okay, again, it made smart applications a necessity, because you cannot go and contact different places. You have to make it like
very
online
precise.
in a smart way.
Yeah.
So again, two different approaches. We can see in a country like Qatar, it came like top down. Maybe in other countries, it can come from the population themselves, the demand side, and the need for these smart applications.
Understand. So, you know, and in different parts of the world, basically where I do most of my work is in Latin America, the situations is completely different from what you have in Qatar or what you have in Australia. So normally you have a lack of human resources, a lack of financial resources. So every movement towards a smart city, although it pays for itself a long time, it's a difficult decision for any politician to make. So based on the things and the results and the outcomes that you saw in your different projects, what do you think should be a kind of a roadmap for a major that wants to develop a smart city? What he needs to think before doing anything?
I think one good starting point, okay, is to bring the impactful stakeholders, sit together on a round table, think freely, and put the stepping stones together, agree on the roadmap. These like quite long journey, and it needs, if not consensus, but at least very high buy-in from different stakeholders. This was one of the steps I have seen in many countries, including Qatar, and it was completely unofficial dialogue between different stakeholders. Then maybe the logical step afterwards can be setting strategy or roadmap, very well structured and defined in a public document where officially we get feedback and we consult our audience about this measure step. Then it will need, without any doubts, a sponsor to take this idea and to make it fly, and to you know, all the meaning of sponsor. So this politician, okay, should believe in smart city as way out of many problems, okay, and find the right finance for this, and speak to his people or her people, and make sure that it is part of the agenda, and take it forward.
From there. Yeah, well, again, we go into the direction of building the governance and engaging people and creating that consensus process, right? From the now going a little bit more on the technology side. So something that I've seen on the countries that I'm engaging is normally the first step towards a smart city is trying to put some technology on the street. Normally, street lights is the first step. Second one is probably parking. Third one is garbage collection. But there are many other things. Have you seen this same trend in other countries, Ahmed?
Yeah, I think these are like the most touching, let's say, services, okay, that people can feel, the smart applications very quickly. In the place that I'm living now here, one very good approach they are applying, like on annual basis, if not less, okay, they send surveys to the residents of this neighborhood, and they ask them to list down the services they want to be smart in order. Okay, so normally these kind of services come at the very top, where people deal with these services on daily basis. However, the need again can be different from one country to another. If you allow me to go back to to Qatar, for example, Qatar is hosting the World Cup in 2022. So many of the smart applications are designed around or targeting hosting the World Cup. Hosting the World Cup can be like a challenge for any country to host. But in the case of Qatar, considering the size of the population, okay, so hosting these many people at the same point of time, these very big portion of the population of the city. So they have to make everything smart. They have to make sure that it is very seamless and addressing the need of the population and the crowd of the World Cup.
Yeah. Well, I remember when I went to Qatar and I met you there, it's one of the big issues is how to play during the summer days under the sun in Qatar. This is very, very hot. So you have to develop technologies to cool the stadiums. Is that correct?
They did already. They did already. They have developed and they have the patent of cooling stadium. So, and I have tried it, by the way, during the Brazil World Cup, okay? They built fan zones, okay, at the same size of the stadium. And unbelievable. You are in the middle of open air place, okay? And it is just very cool.
That's I remember I visited some open places, very cool in spite of being on the summer days. It was very, very interesting. Okay, and what are your plans now relating to smart cities? Are you keep on being a consultant in that area, Ahmed?
Partially yes, because I'm also busy with other work on that in terms of policy making and strategy setting with some clients, but on like very individual and personal basis, I'm trying to catch up with research. And if you allow me in few minutes, just to give some idea about the work that I worked in, and I believe it was at the time at least quite new. My PhD was in the city of Lyon, and in the University of Lyon, they are very famous for applying life cycle management techniques in industries like aviation and airplane and craft. This is very important by regulation and by law in these industries, and also in the automotive and so on, for safety and security reasons, and in the same time also to keep the knowledge, okay, between different phases of the or during the life cycle of the airplane, for example. Okay. So this was very good motivation for us. However, at the very early beginning, it was very challenging to find the link between life cycle and the city, how to define the life cycle in the city. And we ended up,
right? The cycle has no end, so.
Exactly. And we ended up, okay, with the concept that the city, with the complexity of everything, okay, it is a life cycle of life cycles. So you have many systems, you have many projects, you have many applications, and each one has its own life cycle. It has the design phase, or even the conception phase, design phase, operation, ending with the end of life. How to get to the end of any project or any application, okay, and how to link the data during this whole life cycle with the life cycles of other applications or services. The example I just gave to you previously about the smart parking. Smart parking, okay, the whole idea was designed on capturing the data on the plate number, okay. So there is a life cycle from the design to the deployment and operation of the smart parking, okay. But at the end, this system will have important personal information, how to make sure that at the end of life, this data is dealt with in the correct way, how to make sure that the regulations are applied in place, how to make sure that if any change happen in other systems, okay, and the system of the camera, which was CCTV, okay, any change in this system, the data of this change will be transmitted in the right time to the smart parking to make sure that the system is seamlessly working. I know it is very complex discussion. Maybe not all the audience will be interested in, but in a nutshell, it is like a vision of connecting all systems across time at different phases.
Yeah, I recently interviewed Flavio Noronha Santos. He's a project management specialist. He's certified in different methodologies with a lot of experience. So we were discussing the issue of how do you manage a project as complex as a smart city, and which methodology to use. So the discussion was, okay, shall we use traditional methodologies for project management? Shall we use agile? What do we do? Do we use PMBOK? So it was a very interesting decision. At the end, the suggestions, okay, you need to adopt the best tools to the necessary cases. And I think that's exactly the line you are trying to pursue. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Good. So Ahmed, listen, the conversation we can going here for hours, but we have our time. We have a limited time. We are almost there. So I please leave you for your final comments, your recommendations for people willing to engage in smart city. What will be your message to those newbies willing to go into the smart city arena?
Yeah, very simple. Normally moving to better or advanced technology is not an option. Maybe at the beginning we think that we will adopt or will not adopt, but mostly when the technology and applications are in place, we have to adopt, and it will go very naturally. So the decision here can be how to best utilize this technology and how to leverage the capabilities of this technology to the benefit of the people. My recommendation here that from governance point of view, please make sure that you have fruitful discussion, agree on the way you would like to govern your city or your project, and make sure to engage all stakeholders. So these are like very, very simple recommendations. It looks very simple, easy, but it is not that easy in in reality. And at the end, I thank you very much. It was really a very interesting discussion, and pleasure and honor to speak to Smart City TV. I'll definitely share with all my Brazilian friends and colleagues. I have many of them.
Great.
Yeah.
So Ahmed, thank you very much for your time, and we are open to have you here and the channel anytime. Again, I ask the friends watching this interview to subscribe to the channel, request more information on the bell, and we are ready for having you back very soon. Thank you very much, and have a good day.
Thank you.
Oh.